And that involves the WNBA coach. Her name is Cheryl Reeve. She's a coach in the WNBA. She is the coach of the Minnesota Lynx. And during this weekend, in a game against the Indiana Fever, she was seen wearing a trans kid belong t-shirt.
You need to completely drop whatever you are doing right now. Turn your volume all the way up and listen to this very closely, because the WNBA is in a state of absolute unprecedented panic. We just witnessed the biggest voice in sports media drop a career-ending truth bomb on national television, and the fallout is absolutely catastrophic. What we saw unfold today was not just a disagreement. It was a targeted surgical exposure of the darkest secrets in professional basketball, and it caused the biggest superstar in the world, Caitlin Clark, to completely step out of character, march into the front office, and demand the immediate removal of a veteran head coach. For weeks, we have watched the massive, incredibly toxic controversy surrounding Indiana Fever star Sophie Cunningham. We have seen the insane protests, the hostile environments, and the absolute chaos. But instead of protecting the players and calming the storm, Minnesota Lynx head coach Cheryl Reeve allegedly leaned all the way into the drama, and Stephen A. Smith had absolutely enough. Just days ago, a massive video from Stephen A. Smith hit the internet, and the title alone sent shockwaves through the league. "You're putting yourself before the whole league." Stephen A. Smith calls out Cheryl Reeve. But buddy, Stephen A. Smith was only the beginning of this nightmare for Reeve, because right when she thought she could survive the media backlash, the unthinkable happened. Caitlin Clark stepped directly into the crossfire. Clark completely turned the tables, fully outed Reeve's alleged agenda, stood up for her teammate Sophie Cunningham, and officially demanded a full suspension from the
You can't be a male, born a male, transitioning to female, and think that you should have the right to compete with women. Not in basketball, not in football, not in boxing, not in the UFC. Hell, not even in tennis. It's an aberration when you find somebody like a Serena Williams serving 120 miles, 25 miles an hour. That's ordinary for Jokic or Jokovic. That's ordinary for Sinner. That's ordinary for Alcaraz. That was ordinary for Sampras. Agassi and all of
this. Second of this video, buddy, because we are breaking down Stephen A. Smith's explosive rant, the undeniable proof of Cheryl Reeve's toxic history, Caitlin Clark's terrifying ultimatum, and why the WNBA has absolutely no answer for the chaos unfolding right now. Smash that subscribe button, drop a like, and let's expose this absolute madness. To understand why the sports world is completely burning down right now, you have to look at the absolute firestorm that Stephen A. Smith unleashed on national television. The environment in the WNBA was already incredibly hostile. The controversies surrounding Sophie Cunningham were dominating every single headline. Instead of acting like a leader, Stephen A. Smith claims Cheryl Reeve fanned the flames of the controversy. On his show, Stephen A. was visibly shaking with anger. He didn't just criticize her coaching, he completely dismantled Reeve's entire reputation on live TV. "This is a disgrace," Stephen A. practically shouted into the microphone. "Sophie Cunningham is a player in your league. She is out there competing. And instead of shutting down the toxic noise, you are putting your own personal vendettas, your own ego, and your own politics before the health of the entire WNBA. You're putting yourself before the whole league." Stephen A. exposed exactly what is going on behind the scenes. He claimed that certain veteran coaches are using these off-court controversies to try and break the Indiana Fever's chemistry. They know they cannot physically or mentally stop Caitlin Clark on the basketball court, so they are trying to mentally destroy her teammates. He fully outed the strategy, calling it a pathetic, desperate move by a coach who is absolutely terrified of the new era of women's basketball. But buddy, this is where the story gets even more insane. If you think this is the first time Cheryl Reeve has completely lost control and crossed the line, you are entirely wrong. The WNBA establishment is trying to protect her, but the internet never forgets. Let me take you back to the late 2025 playoffs, where Cheryl Reeve showed her true colors. During a massive playoff series against the Phoenix Mercury, Reeve completely lost her mind and was literally suspended by the WNBA.
Or whatever else you want to come up with. What the hell are you talking about? It's not true. It is false. AJ DeBonza, not to throw his name out there, Darren Peterson, hell, pick a scrub. If you're a male and transitioning to female, you should be playing against the women. Nobody said you can't transition from male to female. The issue here is competing against the women. That's what Sophie Cunningham was talking about. That's what Riley Gaines is talking about. How are you, Coach Cheryl Reeve, and you could condone that? And then you're going to come out with a t-shirt. No regard for the WNBA. No regard for the sponsors that may be put off by that. No regard for the bottom line that might be affected because of a position that she has taken that you know is going to be politicized. Because that's what you did. No regard for that whatsoever. How is that okay?
Suspended because her conduct was completely out of control. The WNBA officially punished her for aggressively pursuing and verbally abusing a game official, refusing to leave the court, and making wildly inappropriate comments to the fans in the arena. This is a coach who has a documented league-punished history of completely losing her temper and acting inappropriately when things do not go her way. So when Stephen A. Smith went on TV and called her out for putting herself before the league, he wasn't just making it up. He was pulling from a long, documented history of Cheryl Reeve prioritizing her own massive ego over the integrity of the sport. And this time, she messed with the wrong player. She messed with Sophie Cunningham, and that meant she had to deal with Caitlin Clark. Buddy, if Cheryl Reeve thought Stephen A. Smith was her biggest problem, she was dead wrong. Because Caitlin Clark was watching this entire situation unfold, and Clark absolutely snapped. You do not mess with Caitlin Clark's teammates. Over the course of this season, Clark and Sophie Cunningham have built an absolutely incredible, unbreakable bond. They are the ultimate dynamic duo on and off the court. We literally just saw this bond on full display during their pregame warm-ups just days ago on August 2nd, when Sophie Cunningham and Clark were joking around so much that Sophie was slapping Clark's butt to hype her up before the game. They are sisters. They are a family. When Clark saw the toxic environment being heavily pushed against her closest teammate, she didn't just issue a boring PR statement. She didn't just tweet about it. She went to absolute war for her best friend. According to massive insider leaks, Caitlin Clark completely parted the seas, marched straight past the media, and went directly to the highest levels of the WNBA front office. She fully exposed the situation. Clark stood up for Sophie, demanding that the league hold Cheryl Reeve accountable for allowing this toxic environment to escalate to such danger.
With her back, Sophie Cunningham, questionable right elbow. When the hell did that happen? When did that pop up? Did it pop up after she posted that graphic from Evelyn about going rogue on her Instagram and Caitlin Clark commented on it? Is that when this happened? Indiana Fever? Everybody knows that you guys are attempting to punish Sophie Cunningham. We all know it. We all see it. This is ridiculous. Look at the first comment, Evelyn. You guys are a clown organization. Here it says, Sophie hurt her elbow writing this for Stephanie White, didn't she? This is what Sophie Cunningham has. I will not pass to Caitlin again. I will not pass to Caitlin Clark again. This is what they forced Sophie Cunningham to do. Okay, that's how she hurt her elbow. CDS Sports, go rogue, win game, end up on injury report. Beatings will continue until morale improves. This is ridiculous, guys. This is ridiculous. Everybody knows this is clearly punishment for Sophie Cunningham. Chloe Peterson was the first to report on it. She said, Sophie Cunningham is questionable with a right elbow injury for tomorrow's game. She participated in the portion of practice open to the media this morning. Okay. And everybody knows every comment is that this is punishment. Look here, Sophie being put in timeout for speaking what's on her mind. Okay, punishment for inbound passing to Caitlin Clark instead of Kelsey Mitchell. Stephanie White needs to go. Okay, did it happen on the drawn up play at the end? This organization is like the mafia. So everyone knows, it's clear as day that this is punishment for Sophie Cunningham. It's very, very, very obvious that this is punishment for Sophie Cunningham. The organization is a straight up clown show at this point. And then not only that, they have not addressed the smear campaign. They've gone out of their way to address any and everything else. They refuse to address the smear campaign led by Dan Dockich, who has been adamant about he's getting this information from the inside. Not only have they not addressed that, and he doubled down on it today. Dan Dockich was bombing again.
This is the moment that completely froze the WNBA in fear. Caitlin Clark, the face of the league, the player who brings in millions of viewers and millions of dollars, allegedly looked the executives dead in the eyes and dropped the ultimate hammer. Suspend her. Buddy, you heard that right. Caitlin Clark is reportedly demanding a full, immediate suspension for Cheryl Reeve. Clark basically told the league that if they allow veteran coaches with a history of suspensions to actively endorse the harassment of players like Sophie Cunningham, then this is the end of the WNBA as we know it. Clark fully outed the hypocrisy of the establishment. She pointed out that if a player had acted the way Reeve has, they would be heavily fined and banned. Clark made it crystal clear. If you do not suspend this coach, you will have a massive revolt on your hands, and I will not stand by and watch my teammate be destroyed by a corrupt system. The WNBA is in total, absolute panic mode right now, buddy. They have absolutely no answer. If they ignore Caitlin Clark and Stephen A. Smith, they risk completely alienating the biggest star they have ever had, and they prove to the entire world that the league is entirely
more than anything, educate, and there are some things that we have in common and maybe some things you differ on, just like any issues. And I think it's how you handle things. And so
you can pause it right there. I want you to now watch what Caitlin Clark's coach had to say when she was questioned. This is Caitlin Clark's coach. Okay, go for it.
Your stance on men or athletes who test as biological male participating in women's sports? What's your personal?
Let's watch her answer.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I would say that I'm educated enough from a scientific standpoint. I don't ever believe that exclusion is an answer. I just don't.
Oh my!
No, but wait a minute. You got to keep playing it. Is this the only clip? Oh, okay.
I think that's it.
Because she says, I used to play with men when I was a kid. I always played with men when I was a kid. And she answers the question like, I'm not a scientist. I'm not this. I'm not that. And then the game's being played yesterday. Sophie Cunningham gets hit in the face by an elbow that pretty much almost like massive foul. They call the foul on her.
It's a defensive foul.
Her. I don't even know if you can even play this clip or not. If you can see it, but right there, elbowed in the face. Look at that. Right, do it again.
Whose
on the
fault
elbow.
Is that?
Elbow in the face like that.
Lost
and guess
teeth?
who got the foul? She got
did.
the foul, not the girl that went through this. So, Vinny, again, every time you think common sense is making a comeback, they do something like this. How do you react to this story?
And I know Adam's been very passionate about it. And every time Adam was like, I was kind of like in my head, like, give him a chance. I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I think it's time to get rid of the WNBA, period, full stop. And I'm dead serious. Okay. I'm sick and tired of them using this. No, Adam, I'm dead serious. Like they're hemorrhaging money every single year. Every year, how much money they're losing? To $40 million, and they keep it afloat. And I'm sick and tired of this nonsense, this trans nonsense that keeps coming up. Right when you think it's over, it keeps coming back up like a resurfacing like a damn submarine. And in regard to her shirt, trans kids belong where? In the opposite sex bathroom, or in a clinic getting injected with puberty blockers or their breasts getting taken off. You know where trans kids belong? In therapy. Okay, they belong in therapy to find out what happened. Okay, how did you get to this mindset? Who talked to you? Were you on TikTok? Okay? Were you talking to, well, who was influencing you to try to make you feel the way that you do? Okay? That's what we need when it comes to these trans kids and they belong. Okay? The last thing we need is encouraging.
If they actually suspend a veteran coach like Cheryl Reeve again, it will cause an absolute civil war among the old guard of the WNBA. They are backed into a terrifying corner. The whole world is watching, and the clock is completely ticking. Now, buddy, I need to know exactly what you think. Drop your raw, unfiltered thoughts in the comments section right now. Was Stephen A. Smith 100% right to completely destroy Cheryl Reeve on live TV? And should the WNBA listen to Caitlin Clark and suspend the Lynx head coach immediately? Let me hear your powerful voice down below. Smash that like button if you stand with Caitlin and Sophie. Share this video right now to expose the truth about Cheryl Reeve. And absolutely destroy that subscribe button for more insane, breaking WNBA updates. I will see you in the next one, buddy.